I want you to imagine just for a second that you are juggling two completely different full-time jobs. And I mean completely different.
Right, like we're not talking about a marketing gig during the day and driving for Uber at night.
No, exactly. In job number one, you are a high-rolling, deeply corrupt construction mogul, you know, walking around South Florida in a crisp $1,500 Armani suit.
Just casually rubbing elbows with politicians and, handing over stacks of bribe money.
Yeah. But then in job number two, you are a grimy, Spanish-speaking, drug-running trucker.
A total 180.
Literally. You're wearing a wife beater, bagging canvas shorts, a floppy Panama hat, and hauling 40 kilos of cocaine up the East Coast for a notoriously violent motorcycle gang.
It's the ultimate extreme code switching.
It really is. But here is the kicker for you. If you mix up your lines, if you forget which character you are playing on which day, you don't just get fired from these jobs. People go to federal prison. Or, more likely, you get killed.
Yeah, it's the highest stakes method acting imaginable. I mean,
Right.
There is no director to call cut when things go sideways.
Welcome to today's deep dive. We are jumping straight into the hidden and honestly pretty surreal world of federal undercover operations.
It is a wild ride.
Our source material today is a series of incredible excerpts from the memoir called Ghost, My 30 Years as an FBI Undercover Agent, and we're really zeroing in on one pivotal, completely chaotic year in the author's career, which is 2007.
A huge year for him.
Yeah. Our mission today is to unpack the psychological gamesmanship of this work, the bizarre physical realities of living double lives, and just the sheer audacity it took to operate at this level.
You know, what's truly fascinating about these excerpts that it's so easy to read these accounts and just see like a Hollywood action movie.
Oh, totally. It reads like a script.
Right. But if we dig a little deeper, this is actually a masterclass in applied human psychology. It's about understanding the specific mechanisms of how criminals rationalize their behavior.
How they justify the crazy stuff they do.
Exactly. And how undercover agents actively weaponize a target's ego against them. And ultimately, how the extreme effectiveness of just a couple of agents forced a rigid, massive institution like the FBI to completely evolve.
Well, let's get into the psychology of it, because by 2007, our author is not some rookie fresh out of the academy at Quantico.
Not at all.
He's at the absolute top of his game. He has survived going up against the Italian mob, the Russian mob, you name it. But physically, the text paints a picture of a guy who is incredibly battered.
Yeah, he is physically paying the toll. I mean, 20 years of chasing targets, wearing wires, plus he had a very serious leg injury from his earlier time on a SWAT team.
Right, which left him with a permanent limp.
Yeah. His colleagues actually gave him a new nickname for this stage of his career. They called him the Old Man, or El Viejo.
Which honestly just adds to the gravitas when he walks into a room. So let's look at the first massive operation from this era.
Operation Flat Screen.
Yes, a public corruption case down in Florida, codenamed Flat Screen. The target is a Miramar City Commissioner named Fitzroy Salesman. And yes, you really can't make that up. His actual legal name is Salesman.
It's almost too perfect.
To catch him, the persona the author adopts is Michael Moretti.
Right. And Moretti is carefully engineered to be everything a corrupt local politician wants to see in a mark.
Right.
He is this wealthy construction contractor from the Northeast. He's supposedly looking to retire in South Florida and just simply does not care whose palm he has to grease to get lucrative local government contracts.
And the visual contrast the book describes is amazing. You've got the author walking into these meetings in his custom Armani suit, just radiating money and dominance.
While everyone else in South Florida government is shuffling around in, like, Tommy Bahama shirts and flip-flops.
Exactly.
But that wardrobe choice, it isn't just about looking nice. It's a psychological tool. It establishes dominance and signals to the target that this guy has endless resources.
And Salesman absolutely bites. But what's really interesting is the pacing of the corruption. Like, it doesn't start with a massive $1 million payoff on day one.
No, it's like this perverse corporate ladder.
Yeah, you have to prove your worth on the small grifts before you get promoted to the big leagues.
Right. At first, Salesman just gets the FBI's fake company a contract to build a city gazebo.
Which was, what, $34,000?
Yeah, $34,000, and then later a gym floor. And Salesman takes a tiny 1% cut of those costs.
Which is chump change for a supposedly high roller like Moretti.
Oh, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
But a salesman tells him on the hidden recordings, he says, "You take the shit nobody else wants."
Yeah.
When the big shit arrives, I say, they earn their turn.
It is a deliberate grooming process. Salesman is testing Moretti's reliability and, well, his discretion.
Right. Can this guy keep his mouth shut over a few $100?
Exactly. So once Moretti passes the test on the gazebo, the escalation happens. By the summer of 2007, Salesman is ready to push the big stuff their way. Specifically, a county building renovation project where Salesman wants a $500,000 cut.
$500,000 in taxpayer money.
But hold on, before we get to the payoff, I'm genuinely confused by the mechanics of this sting. Because on July 28, 2007, they have this crucial meeting in the author's oceanfront room at the Westin Diplomat Hotel.
All right, the cameras and audio are all rolling.
The author is about to hand over 3 stacks of $100 bills, amounting to $3,000. But the text mentions he gives Salesman an out to destroy any future entrapment defense in court.
Yeah, he literally points to the door and tells Salesman he can leave right now if he's uncomfortable taking the cash.
Wait, but I've always struggled with this concept. I mean, I thought entrapment was literally when a cop offers you an illegal deal you wouldn't otherwise take.
Right.
He is literally sitting in a hotel room putting $3,000 in front of a politician. How does a defense attorney not immediately get that thrown out?
Well, it is one of the most misunderstood legal concepts out there. Entrapment isn't just about offering an opportunity. It actually hinges entirely on a concept called predisposition.
Predisposition, okay.
Yeah. If the FBI has to coerce, threaten, or, aggressively persuade an innocent person to commit a crime they had no intention of committing, that is entrapment.
Right, if they push you into it.
Exactly. But if the target is already predisposed to be corrupt, meaning they are willing and ready to take a bribe, and law enforcement merely provides a favorable opportunity to do it, that is completely legal.
Ah, okay. So by offering him the door, the author is forcing Salesman to demonstrate his predisposition on tape. He's saying, nobody's forcing you, you can walk away.
Precisely. And Salesman does not walk away.
No, he doesn't.
Instead, he stays and delivers a monologue that is just a perfect, chilling distillation of how criminals rationalize their actions.
It really is.
He tells the author, I'm not interested in right or wrong in the world, because right or wrong can be perceived, depending on who you ask. It's a perception. My greatest concern is what works.
And then he says, we're not talking about going out and murdering a child.
Yeah, that's just stunning mental gymnastics.
Right or wrong is a perception. As long as he is not literally murdering a child, extorting $500,000 from the taxpayers is just, quote, what works.
It highlights how incredibly fluid morality becomes for someone steeped in systemic corruption.
Yeah.
The human ego protects itself by creating a customized ethical framework. In Salesman's mind, the crime is minimized, the victims, the taxpayers, are invisible, and his personal gain is just seen as smart business.
And the author deeply understands this psychology, because following that speech, notice what he does. He doesn't hand the money directly to Salesman's hand.
No, he doesn't. He slowly counts out the 3 stacks of cash and just leaves them sitting on the table.
He forces Salesman to physically reach out, pick up the stacks, and put them in his own pockets.
Which cements the intentionality of the crime on a hidden video. There is no, oh, he slipped it into my coat defense.
And here is where the story gets really surreal, just from a purely human perspective.
Oh, this part is wild.
Imagine you are the author, right? This life-altering federal felony is happening in your hotel room. 5 minutes later, Salesman walks out, his political and personal fate completely sealed. But where is the author's 17-year-old daughter while this historic sting is happening?
She is downstairs, sunning herself by the hotel pool.
It is absolutely mind-bending. He is upstairs in a $1,500 Armani suit, orchestrating the downfall of a corrupt government official, and an hour later, he and his teenage daughter are driving off to go on a normal college tour nearby.
Right. Like, hey, honey, how was the pool? Let's go check out the dorms.
Oh, except he has a loaded .40 caliber baby Glock stuffed into the waistband of his pants during the campus tour.
That bizarre juxtaposition really is the essence of deep undercover work. You're simultaneously inhabiting the darkest, most deceptive corners of human behavior and the most mundane, relatable aspects of normal family life.
Well, speaking of bizarre juxtapositions, the mental strain of that Florida operation is only half the story.
Not even half.
Right, because the text reveals that because the FBI system was so fragmented, the author wasn't just working one case.
Exactly. To understand the sheer agility required here, you got to look at what else he was doing in the exact same months of 2006 and 2007.
Right. He would finish being Armani-clad Michael Moretti in Florida, jump on a plane to Massachusetts, and transform into a completely different character.
A totally different world.
He goes from a high-rolling mogul to playing a guy named Pancho, a long-distance trucker working as the sidekick for another undercover agent named Gonzo.
And their target in New England is not a politician in a tailored suit. It's the Outlaws Motorcycle Club.
The Outlaws. Their logo is a skull and crossed pistons. They call the logo Charlie. And according to the DOJ at the time, they were the most violent motorcycle gang in the country.
Deeply involved in major drug trafficking and illegal firearms.
So to infiltrate them, the FBI sets up a front where an undercover agent is buying stolen vehicles from the Outlaws, supposedly to smuggle them down to Mexico.
Right, and Gonzo and the author are brought in as the transport mechanics of the operation. Now, Gonzo is a fascinating figure in his own right.
Oh, yeah.
He is a Puerto Rican former U.S. Army captain, licensed to drive an 18-wheeler, and according to the author, one of the funniest guys in the entire bureau.
Which seems crucial, right, that sense of humor, because their disguise for this operation is so absurd it almost sounds like a joke.
It really does.
The author, a white Irish guy, is playing Pancho, Gonzo's dopey sidekick, pretending to speak Spanish. They are wearing baggy canvas shorts, dirty wife beaters, huge floppy Panamanian straw hats, and giant fake handlebar mustaches.
Yeah, another agent literally joked they looked like a geriatric version of Cheech and Chong.
They describe themselves as walking probable cause.
It sounds like a comedy sketch, but it served a very specific psychological purpose. We talked about weaponizing ego earlier, right?
Yeah.
They were giving the bikers exactly what they expected to see. Criminals look for threats in the form of confident alpha law enforcement officers.
Guys who look like cops.
Exactly. By presenting themselves as a couple of burned-out, highly expendable, submissive dope runners, they exploited the bikers' confirmation bias.
But that walking probable cause look nearly got them killed.
It did.
And not by the Outlaws.
No, this leads to the traffic stop from hell.
Imagine being pulled over with a trunk full of weed. Now imagine doing it when your actual job is to enforce the law. Picture this scene, Gonzo and the author are driving this massive FBI big rig up the highway.
After just meeting with the Outlaws.
Right, who provided a protection detail for them. Inside their truck, they have 40 kilograms of real cocaine and 1,000 pounds of marijuana, all supplied by the FBI for the sting.
They execute a maneuver to drop the drugs off to another set of undercover trucks, and just as they are driving away from that drop, a Massachusetts State Police cruiser lights them up and pulls them over.
And Gonzo just looks in the rearview mirror, smiles, and drops a 2-word expletive, or expletive.
Because, put yourself in the cop's shoes, what is he seeing?
He sees a truck with Florida plates. He walks up to a trailer that completely reeks of raw marijuana.
Reeks of it.
Inside the cab are 2 guys looking like absolute cartoon criminals who haven't shaved in days. And crucially, they're carrying loaded handguns under their seats, but they don't have their FBI badges on them to prove who they are.
The irony is incredibly thick here. They have successfully navigated rooms full of mafia hitmen and violent outlaw bikers, but in this specific moment, the greatest threat to their lives is a nervous young state trooper with a badge.
It really reframes the danger. The author notices the younger trooper has his gun drawn and concealed behind his leg, and his hand is physically shaking. Friendly fire suddenly becomes the most terrifying occupational hazard in the world. The author has to make a split-second battlefield decision to break his cover.
He has to.
He looks at the senior trooper and says, "Listen, we are FBI agents. We have loaded guns under the seat."
But the trooper doesn't believe them. I mean, why would he?
Right.
And this terrifying moment highlights a massive, dangerous flaw in law enforcement at the time fractured communication. Local cops had absolutely no idea a massive federal sting was happening in their jurisdiction because the FBI didn't share that information.
So the state police pull the agents out, handcuff them, and surround them with 3 MARC units and a very aggressive plainclothes detective.
And while this intense standoff is happening, a yellow school bus drives by.
Oh my gosh.
The author describes kids pressing their faces to the glass, looking at these 2 drug dealers getting busted on the side of the road.
The author's actually laughing because they are technically the good guys, Team America, but they look so insanely guilty to everyone driving by.
Finally, they convince the cops to make a phone call to a state police undercover contact named Pete Davidson to vouch for them.
And how does Davidson identify the author over the phone to the cops?
By his, quote, signature bushy walrus mustache.
It is a near tragedy averted by facial hair.
It really is.
Yeah.
But what is really crucial here is how they manage that adrenaline dump. After an hour-long standoff, the state police finally let them go.
But the detective is still glaring at them, clearly thinking they are shady.
Right, so Gonzo, who is furious but also sees the dark comedy of the situation, decides to mess with him.
He tells the detective, hey, if you want, you can go ahead and search the back of the trailer.
No way. The trailer that was just holding 1,000 pounds of weed.
That's the punchline. The detective has been dying to get in there for an hour. He marches to the back, throws open the doors, and the trailer is completely empty.
Because they'd already dropped the drugs off before they were pulled over?
Oh my God, that is incredible. Gonzo tells the cop to go catch a real dope dealer, blasts the diesel air horn, and drives off with the author bouncing up and down in the passenger seat laughing.
It shows that humor isn't just a quirk for these guys, it's an absolute survival mechanism. It is a necessary release valve for the unbelievable tension they carry every day.
Absolutely, because the tension only escalates from there. This entire New England operation leads up to a massive sting against a major player, Timothy Sylvia, the former president of the Outlaws Motorcycle Gang.
Right, and Sylvia is fresh out of prison.
And in a wildly brazen move, he asks Gonzo and Pancho if they can supply him with drugs to get his business back up and running.
So they set a meeting in the parking lot of a Holiday Inn in Brockton, Massachusetts. The deal is $180,000 in cash for 10 kilos of cocaine.
And if we analyze Sylvia's psychology, it is the polar opposite of Fitzroy Salesman's careful, calculated corruption down in Florida.
Oh, completely.
Yeah.
Sylvia's pure, unadulterated aggression. He rolls up to the Holiday Inn in a brand new gray Hummer.
Fits the biker profile perfectly.
Shaved head, heavily tattooed, stocky. He immediately gets right in the author's face and challenges him, aggressively accusing him of being a cop.
Which the author easily deflects by just accusing Sylvia of being a cop right back.
Smart move.
But then Sylvia just starts bragging. The text notes this guy's rap sheet is 106 pages long with over 200 entries.
Wow.
And he is boasting to them about everything. He claims he beat witnesses with baseball bats, conducted armed home invasions on rival dealers, and killed a guy in a bar fight.
He's just putting it all out there.
And the biggest boast of all, he tells the author, I'm done with that for the rest of my life. Next time I'm arrested, I'm shooting it out with them. I'm going out in a blaze of glory. I can't do 20 more years.
And this brings us back to that concept of weaponizing ego. Sylvia has spent his entire life building this mythos of the untouchable, ultra-violent outlaw.
His ego tells him he is the smartest, toughest, most dangerous guy in that parking lot.
Exactly. And because Gonzo and Pancho are playing these subservient, goofy roles, Sylvia's brain simply refuses to process them as a threat.
He just can't see it.
His own bravado completely blinds him to the trap being laid.
Because reality hits him like a freight train. 6 weeks later, July 38, 2007, Sylvia and his partner come back to that same parking lot with $55,000 in cash for the down payment.
Gonzo lures Sylvia to the back of the truck to supposedly inspect the cocaine,
At that moment, the author hits a button to lower the electric door gate.
which is the prearranged visual signal for the SWAT team to move in.
And in that moment, we see the profound disconnect between a criminal's self-created myth and the cold, hard reality of law enforcement.
There is no shootout.
There is no blaze of glory.
The SWAT team descends so fast that Sylvia never even has a chance to reach for the gun he has hidden in his car.
It's almost pathetic after all that bragging. He just gives up. He ends up taking a 21.5-year plea deal for federal drug trafficking, armed carjacking, and a laundry list other charges.
And 14 other outlaws are convicted in the sweep, which effectively obliterates the Taunton chapter of the gang.
Meanwhile, Gonzo and the author just hang up their Panama hats, go to a local restaurant called the 99, and eat a plate of steak tips.
Another jarring transition back to normal life.
Totally.
But the success of these operations, the fact that the author and Gonzo were bouncing between Florida corruption cases and Massachusetts biker gangs, it really highlighted a massive structural problem.
Yeah, let's connect those dots because this was the most shocking fact in the source material for me.
Oh, for sure.
The text points out that up until 2007, the United States was the only civilized nation in the world that did not have a national law enforcement undercover team.
Which is wild to think about.
Europe, Canada, South America, they all had elite national units. But the FBI, they had 56 different field offices basically running their own isolated undercover operations.
It was incredibly inefficient and dangerous.
I mean, to use an analogy, it sounds like the FBI was operating like 56 competing McDonald's franchises that refuse to share their secret sauce with each other, even though they all work for the exact same corporation.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
How does an organization as well-funded and famous as the FBI take until 2007 to realize they need a unified A-team?
Honestly, it's because of how bureaucratic fiefdoms work. Field offices are highly protective of their own budgets and their own cases.
The local special agent in charge wants the glory and the media headlines for their specific city.
Exactly. They don't want to hand control or their best undercover agents over to headquarters in Washington, D.C. They hoard their resources.
But the sheer volume and interstate complexity of organized crime finally forced the institution's hand, right?
Right. In June 2007, the FBI officially formed its first National Undercover Team. They called it NDURE, National Dedicated Undercover Response Element.
Which is a terrible acronym, but we will let it slide.
It really is.
And because the author is so highly regarded, having just pulled off these massive concurrent stings, the assistant director of the Criminal Investigative Division calls him up and asks him to lead the operational end of NDURE.
But the author knows how toxic headquarters can be, so he doesn't just say yes. He lays down 3 non-negotiable conditions.
Right. First, he demands to remain assigned to Boston, refusing to relocate to the political swamp of Washington, D.C.
Second, he insists on handpicking every single member of the undercover team with absolutely zero interference from FBI headquarters.
And third, he demands that headquarters simply gives them the budget and leaves his team alone to do their jobs.
Amazingly, the assistant director agrees.
And of course, the very first guy the author drafts to his all-star team is Gonzo.
Naturally.
He spends the next few months pulling the absolute cream of the crop from field offices in Atlanta, Seattle, San Diego, everywhere.
And it works spectacularly well. Within their first 2 years, NDURE runs operations alongside 23 different field offices,
handling incredibly difficult public corruption cases and getting rave reviews nationwide.
The bureaucratic silos were finally broken down.
It's an amazing climax to this era of his career. But the source material leaves us on a massive cliffhanger.
Oh, it really does.
It notes that after those 2 highly successful years of running NDURE, the team took on one of the most powerful men and criminal organizations in the world, and everything changed.
Which, makes me instantly want to find the next chapter.
Same here.
It is a stark reminder that in that line of work, the reward for taking down a heavy hitter is just being assigned a much, much heavier hitter. The game never actually stops.
So true. To wrap this up, the sheer agility required to live this life is staggering.
Unbelievable.
Within the span of a single week in July 2007, our author was in Florida paying off a corrupt politician in a custom Armani suit. And 2 days later, he was in a Massachusetts parking lot wearing a straw hat, orchestrating the takedown of a violent motorcycle gang president.
And by pushing himself to the absolute limit to do this so effectively, he fundamentally forced the FBI to modernize its entire approach to undercover work.
It is an incredible physical and psychological feat. But when you look at the mechanics of it, the constant deception, the fractured realities, it leaves us with a lingering question about the human cost of that agility.
Yeah, we talked at the beginning about extreme code switching, about juggling these intense, dangerous personas.
Think about it. You spend decades perfectly mirroring what criminals want to see. You build a customized reality for a corrupt politician one day and a violent biker the next.
You adapt your identity constantly just to survive.
So when your entire professional life is about convincingly being someone else, how do you define who the real you is when you finally take the disguise off?
That fragmentation of identity is the true hidden danger of the job, far more than any loaded gun.
Definitely something to mull over. Thank you all for joining us on this deep dive into the shadowy, surreal world of undercover operations. Keep questioning the realities around you, and we will see you